Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're joined by our Senior Fellow, Dr. Stephen McCabe. So Steve, this week it's all about Chancellor Rishi Sunak. He of course announced a mini budget yesterday, giving us an idea of how the economy could work over the next few months. That's with public spending on the battle against coronavirus has already risen to nearly 190 billion. So what did you make of the budget?
Well, it's the classic curate's egg insofar as that there were some good parts, but of course there were many parts that sort of were, it's not so much not good, because I think in the current state we want Rishi Sunak to succeed, because there are bad times and it's going to get significantly worse, it seems. But there are many people who feel left out. He's spending a phenomenal amount of money. The view which I share is that there was a lot of short-term initiatives which will sort of still drop off, whether it be sort of the eating out, which we're going to talk about in a minute, at the end of August. That it might provide a short-term sort of fillip for certain organisations and businesses, but and of course the furloughing will end in October. I can't see sort of people being that bothered about having or keeping people on for an extra few months just to get £1,000. If they haven't got the work, they haven't got the work. So in the sense that we hope it provides the bedrock upon which to build. I strongly suspect that what this is kind of, I wouldn't call it a sticking plaster solution, but he recognises that possibly when we get to later on in the year into the autumn budget, then he's probably going to have to sort of dedicate even more firepower to solving the sort of what will look like, I suspect, an increasingly sort of difficult unemployment situation.
So Rishi Sunak is to cut VAT on hospitality as part of the £30 billion plan to prevent mass unemployment, as well as paying firms, as you said, £1,000 bonus for every staff member kept on for 3 months when the furlough scheme ends in October, as well as announcing a scheme to get 50% off to people dining out in August. So do you think this is what the hospitality sector needs then to survive? And can any more actually be done at this stage?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you mentioned the sort of figure of 30 billion, of which the sort of the dining initiative, if you like, if I call it that, is £500 million, which that's still £500 million. That's not small beer in anyone's scheme of things. But nonetheless, it's a sort of small part of what's going on. Will it save the hospitality sector? Well, it'll help. There's no doubt about it. Do I think that sort of cutting VAT is going to make a tremendous amount of difference? Personally, not for me, because I'm not that bothered whether it's VAT at 20% or 5%. Everything helps, of course. The fact is that it's only for 3 nights a week, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's only for August. If he really wanted to save the hospitality sector, which employs 1.8 million people, I think he could have done an awful lot more and made it longer lasting. So maybe he's hoping that people will not be going abroad this year, so they'll be spending more money staycationing. I don't know. I think it was limited, and I think the sort of it's provided short-termist solutions, but what we're looking at is much longer-term problems. And again, my big fear is, and I've seen predictions, that unemployment could be well over 10% by Christmas, and it could be sort of reaching 15%. Yeah, and that is really scary.
So UK airlines have said that they're being ignored by the government, warning of further job losses after tens of thousands of job cuts. Gyms have also said that they're being ignored, and retailers have called for tax breaks. But the government states that this is one of the most comprehensive economic responses in the world. So what is next for the sectors that, think that they are being somewhat ignored in this budget?
Well, what I would say is that if you look at what's going on in mainland Europe, in the likes of sort of Germany in particular, which I always hold up as an exemplar, they're throwing a lot more money at many sectors. I mean, there is a sort of a very good argument that, well, everyone wants more. I understand that. Everyone's got their own particular problems, and the airline sector, let's face it, was one of the first to be really badly affected. And as we know, COVID has not gone away. Therefore, will people be sort of travelling abroad? I don't know. I mean, I personally would not want to be jumping on a plane and going abroad at the moment, but some people will do. There are big problems. The automotive sector has got its own problems. The 2,200 jobs in the supply chain disappeared this week from DHL. That there are rumours about sort of what will happen to Jaguar Land Rover here in the sort of the Midlands. the Rolls-Royce is having more redundancies and sort of going through sort of phenomenal amounts of money. I mean, the reality is that sort of with very few exceptions, every sector is being badly affected. And yeah, as I say, that they can't maintain the cost of keeping those businesses running in the same way. So the government can obviously do more. But I'm also acutely aware that, of course, that they have to sort of find the money from someone. Well, of course, they can do that, but then it's got to be paid back. And of course, there are even talk that in the autumn budget that taxes may start to rise. So we've got this difficulty that we're even talking about sort of, well, we're not out of recovery. We're not even in recovery, as it were. We're talking about how we're going to pay this bill. Yeah, it's a really, well, a potentially developing disaster. And I hope that sort of it's not as bad as I think it could be.
Thanks for joining us, Steve.